Namaskar. Uh, I would like to thank the organizer committee, Principal Dr. Kulkarni sir, and the management of the New Education Society for uh, uh, inviting me for this important uh, seminar. First of all, happy World Mangrove Days to all of you. I'm going to talk today about not a conventional topic, little bit different, although content may be same. However, the inferences are slightly different, and therefore it is a slightly different topic titled I have Mangrove and Civilization. It is about the human civilization and what is the role mangrove has played in the human civilization. We all know mangrove ecosystems are unique and complex in natural environment, which consist mainly of woody plants and are essential for the survival and development of the local population in the coastal area. So it's very important for development as well as survival of the local population. That includes human population as well as all living things in the coastal area. Mangrove are incredibly important and contribute a holistic ecosystem, creating a condition which is very conducive for life, for sustaining of the life normally would not support in such conditions. Well, mangrove have enormous ecological value, and they protect and stabilize the coastline. Now, when you say protect and stabilize the coastline, basically, because mangroves are mostly in the creeks and estuaries and the mouth of the, major estuaries in the tropical areas and also in the delta formation areas. And therefore, these are some of the areas are very much prone for the storm and surge in the coastal area, waves and the tsunamis. And therefore, stability is very important for the habitat to develop or intertidal habitat to develop. And unless the habitat is stabilized or stable, other communities will not like to colonize in such habitats. And therefore, stability and protection is very important for the coastal ecological habitat and the colonization by the animal and plant communities for that habitat. So mangrove, they protect and stabilize this coastline, enrich the coastal water, a very productive coastal water, and yield the commercial, forest product for the and support the coastal fisheries. Mangrove also plays a very important role in mitigating the atmospheric carbon dioxide, basically in the form of this carbon sequestration. And either estimates suggest that the mangrove export a large amount of terrestrial carbon, almost more than 11% to the ocean. So the atmospheric carbon, about more than 10% or 11% is fixed by mangroves, and it is exported to the ocean system. And along with the mangrove ecosystem productivity, biological production, a total contribution of carbon to the oceanic system for mangrove is about 15%. And this finally get accumulated into the modern sediment, and then it is utilized by the system. The importance of mangrove, therefore, results from the biodiversity, because it is very productive life sustaining system. Also, it is providing not only the food but protection to the different forms, and therefore it is very important for biodiversity. So this is one of the important function it provides. Mangrove trees can sequester, again very important, mangrove trees can sequester up to 10 times of higher carbon than the rainy forest. This is again very, so 10 times higher mangrove sequestration takes place, carbon sequestration takes place in the mangrove compared to the rainy forest. Again, their roots are, help in anchoring the shoreline. That's what the shore protections. therefore it protects the coast from devastating impacts such as the storm surge, waves, and the tsunamis. Okay. A preliminary estimate indicates that the above ground biomass of the world mangrove forests can sequester up to 3,700 trillion grams of carbon per year, or almost 14 to 70 trillion grams of carbon are sequestered by mangrove, and then it is, in the mangrove sediment. So this is what the, again, very important value of the service which mangrove system provides to natural environment. Mangrove ecosystem is the interface between terrestrial and the aquatic, particularly terrestrial forest and marine ecosystem, and therefore it is the shock absorber, very stabilizer, shock absorber. They reduce the high tide, impact of the high tide and waves, and prevent soil erosion. So it protects the soil from erosion, and that is how it provides the stability. And once the stability is there, it provides the livelihood opportunity to coastal community, because the habitat is stable, biodiversity will develop, and therefore it will contribute to the fishery. How does it contribute? Mangrove ecosystems also serve as a shelter and nursery for many juvenile fish and shellfish species. In fact, more than 75% of the world's tropical commercial fish species spend a portion of a part of their life cycle in the mangrove system. So it is very important to have a healthy mangrove ecosystem in any area, because 75% of the commercially important fish species are dependent for part of their life cycle or full of their life cycle on the mangroves. And if the mangroves are not there, we are going to lose those 75% of this commercially important fish species visiting our area or spending or part of their life in our area and contributing to the fisheries. And therefore fishery lifeline, commercial fishery, particularly marine commercial fishery lifeline is the mangrove. People living in the mangrove in the coastal area, particularly in the coastline, are dependent on mangrove for their important food, economic and cultural resources. Now, if you look at it, how does it has been evolved? The literature suggests that the mangrove taxa evolved around the Cretaceous, which is during the late Cretaceous year, and which is indicated how it has been, plate tectonic evolved and how mangroves have been evolved. And here is, for example, you can see, so sea is somewhere here, and these are the Gondwana land areas. You have the, Africa here, India is here, Australia is somewhere down, and as you can see that Antarctica. So this portion lived, moved up, and during that time the mangroves were already evolved, and they were, probably with the plate tectonic movement or plate movement, the mangroves which were evolved, they were, migrate. So there is a general agreement that mangrove ecosystem first appear during the Cretaceous, early tertiary on the shores of the Thetis Sea. This is the Thetis Sea, and then throughout the extent, mangrove genera, then they were migrated through the plate tectonic to the other parts. Well, the literature suggests that the earliest, most complete record of permanent human settlement have been, in the small coastal valley of the southwestern Ecuador. Now, the permanent human settlement are found in the Levant region, which borders the Middle East or Mediterranean Sea. This is somewhere around 12,000 years ago, and there are some records of the structures which some of the archaeologists and the researchers, particularly marine archaeologists, have recorded, and they suggest that this could have been the earliest example of permanent settlement around the sea. We all know that human evolution itself is around the water, and since the sea played very important role in the ecological development, probably it was available in different parts, and that is how settlement has been around the water bodies, including the seas, coastal seas. Spanish are the first to provide written records and descriptions of the mangroves on the American continent during their expeditions, and some coastal pre-Columbian societies, in fact, used Colombia, we all know, have been a Spanish colony. So pre-Columbian societies used mangrove woods for different purposes, and preferentially they are used because probably this was one of the best wood available in that area during that time. So there is a report indicating that how mangrove woods have been used by Spanish during their the early colonization. Also, there are the records how agriculture evolved and what mangrove played a role in the agriculture and fisheries in combination. So agriculture sites, early agriculture sites were also located in the interior between marine and coastal mainlands, because marine areas have rich soil, particularly fluvial soil, are those habitats which are very useful for the agriculture. The carbon dating fossil records of cucurberian fruits, which is closely associated, were identified and were able to indicate that an early pattern of agriculture in coastal Ecuador. So in the coastal Ecuador, the early pattern of agriculture have been proved based on the carbon dating of the soil and the fruits, and that indicates that is in the coastal area, the agriculture have been traced somewhere around 10 to 12,000 years ago. That was during the Holocene period. So that's how the mangrove played important role in the coastal agriculture development also. I'm not saying entire agriculture, coastal agriculture development. This is what I could interpret. Now, if you look at it, ancient China have good coastline, and they have good history of agriculture development, and there are how they have been using the agriculture coastal areas for agriculture. There are records available. In India too, we do have it, the agriculture records along the coast, not only in the river and interior parts, but and how it was developed. Particularly if you see, this is a Jordan, how they have used the camels for irrigation purpose. In Persian and Indian areas, how they have used bulls for the water or irrigation purpose, and that's how agriculture was evolved in the interior as well as in the coastal area. And country like India, China, we have got vast coastline. Definitely, this was phased manner the development was taken. As the record goes, as the early 16th century quote suggests that mangrove played a critical role in the way of the life of many coastal societies and are closely linked with human culture. For example, in India, Solomon Island, Kenya, the records suggest that mangrove have been regarded as a very important societal because they are the sacred space in the societal development, where there are different cultures and special rites at you know uh, pujas and other celebrations are taken place in the mangroves and associated areas. There are temple erected in some of the parts of this where people are worshipping in the mangrove, and this has been reported by Dr. Kathesaran and his group as early as 2000. There are records available. Even in Latin America, the importance of these habitat to local culture or indigenous culture is evident from the zoological and archaeological, zooarchaeological dating, which support that cultural and anthropological inferences indicate that mangrove were very important in the early settlement, even in the some of the records coming from the Latin America. Well, mangrove has been used in the early boat building. We all know boat have played, or ships have played very important role in linking the different continent and also the transportation, and that's how the economy is developed at different parts. So boat building, the early boat building, it reports suggests that the mangrove would have been, and probably this is the one thing which I wanted to highlight is specifically the early boat building have been referred to the mangrove trees because mangrove wood is supposed to be very good. Since they grow in the salty environment and very stress environment, mangrove wood is very stable and it's strong for building the hull. And that's how there are the reports that mangrove wood have been used extensively in the early civilization and as the development takes place. Probably here is the indication how mangrove have been subjected for the exploitation. Here is the reference that indicates that when the commercial value of boat building, economic value of boat building increase with the transportation of the material, the stress on mangrove cutting of this big wood have been or must have been started from that. So this is what I wanted to say, that how it has been started. And there are the reports that how mangrove woods have been used both within the Indian subcontinent and in the other parts also, particularly if you say Latin America and other parts. Sundarban areas, mangrove have been even today are partly used for boat repair and boat building in some parts. That's what I have gotten information, may not be reports are early as 80s, 1980s or 2000 around are there. I don't know now whether reporting is there, but there are indications that even today in the traditional or tribal areas, people do use for repair of mangrove wood for the boat building, small traditional boat building. Okay, Spanish colonization. This is what I was just talking about. Spanish colonization, particularly in Colombia and other parts, in the early colonization period, where Spanish intensified their exploitation of mangrove wood by utilizing it heavily for construction. One is construction, specifically for shipbuilding. This is what I said, that the Spanish were one of the colonizers. We have, particularly in South America, Latin America, they have the colonies. They had the colonies, big colonies, and there they have, when they expanded their colonization, the boat, again, shipbuilding was also developed, and therefore they were the one who have utilized, or exploited the mangrove wood in large quantity for building the ship, because it is water resistant. That's what I was just saying. The wood is water resistant. and quality wood, hardness, length and width both. So width and length, they will get it as required. And there are reports, that's what I say, that there are reports which indicates that this was one of the first preferred wood during that era for building the ships. Okay, so here this is what I was just mentioning. The heavy exploitation of mangrove probably started from that. It is one of the major reference which indicate about the exploitation. So timber harvesting played an important role in construction and the leather the work. See, you can see that, because in the mangrove system, leather preparation, or that time the leather have to be soaked into the water for longer duration, and it is a salty water, and therefore they require the areas, huge areas for that one. So therefore, clearance of the areas for leather preparation and the construction, it is in addition to the boat building. So construction, leather work, while mangrove charcoal was used in the sugar production. See, because you have to boil the sugarcane juice, and then you have to prepare the jaggery and sugar. So therefore, mangrove was used not only for boat building, it was used for construction, it was used for leather work, it was used for charcoal preparation, which was used for sugar production in the early jaggery sugar production. For this reason, mangrove wood becomes a part of the, this is where, when mangrove utilization was extensive, in a large quantity, then the local administrator, because to control that, they also had to put the tax on that. And this is where it becomes, it seems that the tax was part of the mangrove exploitation. So whoever will cut the mangroves, they'll have to pay the tax or tribute to the local communities or the local rulers, whether it is a king or local communities who are controlling it. So you'll have to pay the tax if you want the mangrove, trees to be cut for different purposes. And this was started, during particularly Spanish colonization. That's what, again, we have the report and records. We say that community, whoever, individual want to use the mangroves will have to pay the tax to the Spanish king during that era. Well, again, the mangrove, we all know about this one, but importance of mangrove in fish diet. It is evident that archaeological sites indicate that, because this is from the archaeological record where they have done the dating based on that. And they say that lowland areas in Panama where the targeted fish taxa such as catfish, snookers, toadfish, croakers are utilizing these mangrove areas for the feeding purpose, or they were colonizing in mangroves because food was plenty available in such areas. Well, now human use, as it started, we all know, I already mentioned it, how Spanish colonization have used. So cutting to make the charcoal. Then now we know that honey from the flowers, which is even presently it is medicine. The bark was used for different medicine. And today we have the patents from that. So it was started from early days. Dyes they were making. I already mentioned it, in the leather industry, and they were making the dyes from the bark. Also, there are references that oil was extracted from the mangrove fruits, dried fruits, and that was used for different purposes, including the medicinal value. That oil was also used for, painting the boats, and it seems that that is very good for increasing the strength and life of the boats and cattle feeds. This is what we have got in records, and today also most of these things are being practiced by human beings, or utilize mangroves in some parts for partly for some of these things is being practiced even in India. We know it very well. Well, food and medicine, we all know about food. There are different type of species. They spend entire lifespan. Shrimps, oyster, mussels, clams, fin fishes, crabs, seaweeds have been exploited from the different mangroves, global or world world mangroves, different species are, exploited in the huge quantity for the food, and as I mentioned about the medicinal purpose. Cultural value, I already mentioned it a little bit there. There are examples, and in Sundarban, it seems that there is a temple, available Hindu temple, which is now in Bangladesh, where people is to worship whoever is to go in the mangroves for exploitation or for the commercial exploitation, fisheries and other purpose. They had the diet is there, their god was there, and therefore they used to pray there for the safety and the good harvest from the mangrove forest and mangrove creeks. So there are the temples where they are there. Importantly, what I would like to suggest is very important, because there are evidences of pre-Columbian use of mangrove estuarine resources have been found in the different reports. They suggest that mangrove associates, particularly fisheries and fish related products, have been extensively used by human behavior hunters during that time, and which is continuing even today also, which we know it very well. Harvesting of mangrove products such as mollusk, fish, crabs, birds, and mammals is long history for this. Most importantly, the species that were available or they were visiting the mangrove area often were very large in size, such as crocodile or turtles and other dolphins. And because of their size, they used to provide huge biomass, and which was easy for the hunters. Access from land was easily available, and therefore the harvest was fairly simple compared to the other harvesting. So this was another one, that it generated the resource. Animal protein was easily available for the local population, which enhanced the growth, and that's how the colonization preferred such areas where you have got the resources available. And there are reports, they say that around 1800 BC, these records were already available, or these records are available, indicate that these aquatic resources were used by local, and that's what I say, that Columbian societies have. Now the functions, when we talk about that, importantly is the gradually these functions extended landward use also, like brackish water or the land and sea interactions place where you can use the seaweed and other places, and therefore land use, mangrove land use was probably started during those period, eventually because the mangrove were replaced by the land or land plant, and therefore that's how mangrove has been very helpful for protecting the land. Now looking at the habitat value, it is very important for other organisms. I already talked to you about. One is sessile and another is the mobile. Mobile is fishes, crabs, and sessiles. We have got different type of forms which is attached to the roots or plants. Those sessile like sponge, which attach tunicates, different type of anemones, worms, snails, and mobile forms are like snails, shrimps, lobsters, and that's how they colonize into the. So it has got the habitat value, because if these habitats are not available, these colonization, which are very important ecologically and economically, they will not be able to colonize it, and therefore these habitats are very important for the colonization. Also for the juveniles, as I already mentioned, more than 75% of the fish species, they use the mangrove habitat for their lives to complete their life cycle. Many juvenile coral reef fishes live in the mangroves, and then because the food rich environment will be there, and mangroves are the coastal areas, so they come during the storm surge, and where these rough seas are there in coral reef. Mostly corals are in the open water. Mangroves are protected in the water, so they come into the mangrove areas for larval, nursery, because the food is plenty available. And as soon as the weather clears or the better environment prevails into the open sea or coral reef area, they will migrate. So coral reef fishes also use mangroves. So there is a direct connection between corals and mangroves, which are both very rich in biological productivity, which are hotspots of the biodiversity and rich in the fisheries. There were earlier talks that coral reef fishes are different, mangrove fishes are different, but genetically it has been proven that coral reef fishes migrate to the mangrove to complete their life cycle, partly living, and particularly when there is a open sea, when there is a monsoon period, when the rough seas are available, and there is a nursery, the larvae have to be nurtured, and therefore they come to the mangrove areas for the nursery period. Well, so here comes mangrove plants or plants in general. Okay, so planet is, so our entire planet that way, and mangrove system particularly is like a bank. It is like our bank account where every living things play a deposit. Where every living things play as a deposit, it is only the human being. It is only the human being. We are the one species that keeps on withdrawing the fruits from this. We are not depositing there, we are only withdrawing. And here is the time has come that play our interest at least back. If you are not going to pay the the compound or your capital, at least the interest we should think about. And how could we do that? As I told you that the exploitation probably started with Spanish colonization and this thing. Now, mangrove afforestation is very important, word. And how does it started? I feel it that probably it started in 19th century. I'm not sure because I did not get any record. Please correct me if you can. But what I have got the record, it suggests that between 16th and 18th century, the demand for wood for shipyard and other construction increased. And that probably mangrove, in Ecuador, it was in a very clear. Peru, boat building and building of coastal cities, it becomes very essential how it evolves. And therefore, exploitation of mangrove wood in Ecuador, in other parts, was in huge. That was 18th century. In this, different type of literature I was looking at, the afforestation or planting of mangrove, I didn't get much so far during that period. So the mangrove, which makes up less than 0.4% of the world forest, mangrove which makes actually less than 0.4, so not even 0.5% of the world forest, is being lost at the rate of 1% per year. And this was again reported by different workers around 2000, that per year, today I don't know exactly what value is there because I don't have the reference for that. So around 2000 means at the beginning of 21st century. And that's what I said, that started probably in 19th century. So the loss of mangroves in the beginning or the end of the 19th century was somewhere around 1% per year for different purposes. We'll talk a little bit about that. Now this report is in 2000, and if you look at it, what it means, that at 1% or around the 1%, all the world mangroves will get vanish during that period, 100 years. Today, if we talk about, it is just another 80 years. If you go with the figures which estimated by scientists, it's only another 80 years we are left for mangrove to survive. And if okay, as I was mentioning, that mangrove makes up less than 0.4% of the world forest. However, worldwide loss of the mangrove is more than 1%. And therefore, if the same rate we will be losing the mangrove forest globally will last only for another 80 years from today onwards. Approximately, this is another very important component, and how development is related to the mangrove deforestation. Approximately 129,000 hectares, square hectares of mangrove disappeared in 20 years in China between 1980 and 2000 in China. And we know China, how fast it has developed its economic activities all to end. And that 20 years, they have lost 129,000 hectares of the mangrove, of which 97%, almost 98% was used for the shrimp culture. And that's how China is world's top shrimp producer. China produces almost more than 60% of the global shrimp, cultured shrimps. And that's how it is local consumption as well as for the market. And that's how the development is related with the mangrove. So there are different threats, as I was just talking about, mangrove, but one of the major was the aquaculture. And it has happened, South Asian country, most of, because South Asian country, again, the major shrimp producing area. So it has been used at a different way for construction of the pond, for expansion of this thing, for hatchery area. And, this was the major area which was being used for the shrimp culture. If you could look at this slide, here is a very clear indication. As I have told, major it was, aquaculture, and then it was the real estate or reclaiming of the land. And that way, this is how mangrove areas was there. It was cut and then it was converted into the different type of ponds. And these are some of the countries where, where the mangrove area have been used, even in India, Papua New Guinea, and different parts. As I already told you that China have been the major, this thing for utilizing the mangrove for the aquaculture. And this is another example of, how it has been, used for the shrimp. So this was 1987, not in China, but Ecuador, probably it is there. And this is a creek, and you have mud flats in 1980. This was Nicaragua, sorry. This was in Nicaragua, and you can see that these are the mangroves. There are mud flats available wherever blue color, these are the mud flats, and green is the mangroves. And this is based on the satellite imagery. And here is the satellite imagery within another 87 and 99. So just 10 years. And 10 years, you have all those mud flats, including surrounding mangroves, have been reclaimed and converted into the pond, shrimp culture pond. And this is how it was subjected to the mass, conversion of the mangrove mud flats first. Here is NASA picture, satellite-based picture, and which is giving the mangrove root, global mangrove root, and how it has been, impacted. So from 2000 to 2016, figures are given here, which is, again, natural as well as versus the human. Natural is there, but there is a particularly storm surge and tsunamis and that type of things. But major is or sea level rise. Major is the human being. Okay, the coastal area of Bangladesh have suffered a severe cyclonic storm annually since 1584. So it is 1584. Records are available. This period, there were major cyclones. The protection from cyclone damage afforded natural mangroves, we all know is that. And but on record, it came somewhere in 1960s where the Forest Department of Bangladesh took an initiative that because they have lost lot of mangroves, they started afforestation program in 1960, and this was the initial record what I could get it from Bangladesh. It is used, we all know, from Bangladeshi side for the fisheries and different type of, I mean, it is from Indian side also. This is world's largest mangrove reservoir. So therefore, I thought I should talk about its biodiversity a little bit and how human-animal conflict is there, both in terms of fisheries and wildlife, and mangrove in general is subjected. Protection of mangroves and coral reef, I already mentioned it, that if you want to protect the coral reef, you have to protect the mangrove also, because mangrove fishery depends on, coral reef fishery entirely depends on mangrove, because they spend a lot of their time in nearby mangroves. Some of the species, not all the species, but yes, some of the species, they spend their time, and mangrove provides very good, rich, nutrient-rich water, which is again are exchange between the two sides, particularly from mangrove to open sea. Therefore, mangrove are critical habitat in terms of the present day, if you want to consider, and therefore it needs some sort of the protection. Restoration is one of them. The protection is very important, and it cannot be done by individual. It has to be community-based, management plan, which is being practiced in different part of the world. Southeast Asia is there. Gulf countries, they are doing it, in a large scale, mangrove afforestation or mangrove plantation. In India also, we have the major mangrove plantation program. So what is important is, because somebody will be talking about this, I don't want, to talk about this. I'm sure somebody will talk about mangrove afforestation and present program. So what is my say on this is, there mangrove afforestation is a need of the day. It cannot be done individually. It has to be done collectively by locals, because they are the stakeholders, and the administration, a government, non-government organization, and they have to come together, and there has to be hand-holding together. There has to be a hand-holding program to promote the mangrove. And finally, it is the youth of the region or the area or local youth, because they are the future, and they should realize their future depends on the mangrove. So if they realize that their future depends on the mangrove, they themselves will take care, and they have to take care because their future depends on the mangrove. Thank you very much to all of you, and Dr. Shabde sir particularly for spending his time, and all of you for listening me. Thank you very much.